In the year 2148, explorers on Mars discovered the remains of an ancient spacefaring civilization. In the decades that followed, these mysterious artifacts revealed startling new technologies, enabling travel to the furthest stars. The basis for this incredible technology was a force that controlled the very fabric of space and time. They called it the greatest discovery in human history. The civilizations of the galaxy call it Mass Effect. Released in 2007, Mass Effect is the first in a trilogy of games that at the time saw huge success and mass appeal among those who played it. However, as time went on, the franchise has mostly been forgotten about and hasn't received a mainline game release since 2017. Almost 20 years later, I want to revisit the first game and retell the story through my stream highlights and see what they did right and what they got wrong. Widely believed to have been left behind by an ancient, extinct race of aliens named the Protheans, humanity was now able to travel at speeds faster than light to other mass relay locations stationed across the Milky Way galaxy. Humans quickly came to discover numerous species of spacefaring aliens, with their first encounter almost beginning a conflict known as the First Contact War. Fortunately, the Council, a galactic body of various aliens united together to achieve peace and progress, intervened and welcomed humanity. We begin our story 35 years later in the year 2183. Technological advancements have skyrocketed the progress of humanity, who have been fighting for their own seat on the Council, desperately trying to prove they too can be an asset to the Galactic Alliance. The Council is located on the Citadel, a massive space station also originally believed to have come from Prothean technology. Their hesitancy to allow a human representative is due to humanity's rapid expansion and aggressive approach. Noting our discovery of Prothean technology and witnessing our massive military strength, humans are seen as valuable but dangerous to the established order and still don't have the full trust of the galaxy. Attempting to quell this fear, Commander Professor Shepard, the top space marine of the Human Alliance military, leads his crew in a ship named the Normandy, under the direct command of Captain David Anderson. Shepard is summoned by Anderson to undergo one of humanity's most important missions yet. The human colony, Eden Prime, has been reported to contain an ancient Prothean beacon. Shepard and his team are tasked with recovering it at any cost, especially since the last discovery of Prothean technology had progressed them so far. The Council, also being aware of this, sends a Turian named Nihilus to assist in the mission. Shepard and Anderson are well aware this is the Council's way of keeping a close eye on humanity, especially concerning Prothean technology, but they know if they want a chance to earn a seat on the Council, they'll just have to go along with it and work with the Council in order to prove themselves. Commander Professor Shepard, Kaiden Alenko, and some other guy are sent down and split off from Nihilus, quickly falling under fire by a fleet of drones, and some other guy unfortunately gets slammed out. The two move on, discovering another human marine, Ashley Williams. Being the only one left alive in her squad, she explains how her team was wiped out by an army of Geth. Approximately 300 years before today, a race of aliens who specialize in technology and synthetic intelligence known as the Quarians developed artificial intelligence to be used as laborers and tools of war. However, once the AI became sentient, it began to question their masters, seeing themselves as slaves. The Quarians, sensing the revolt, began to destroy the Geth. Unfortunately, they were too late, and they were quickly overwhelmed by the Geth, eventually losing the war, having their planet destroyed, and reducing them to a fleet of nomads that now roam the galaxy. The Geth, on the other hand, remained at the edge of the Terminus systems, killing any organic being it came into contact with, yet never faring outside of it to conquer. The Geth simply existed and extracted their resources from asteroids, monitoring galactic communications, but never engaging. 300 years later, and now they're on the move and attacking Eden Prime. Just before reaching the beacon, Shepard discovers that Nihilus has been killed, shot in the back of the head. A human who was hiding during the ensuing chaos emerges and claims he saw the whole thing. He reveals another Turian appeared who knew Nihilus, even calling him by the name Saren.
This isn't your mission, Saren. What are you doing here?
The Council thought you could use some help on this one.
Nihilus seemed to trust him and turned around, only for Saren to raise his gun and kill him without hesitation. With more and more questions and zero answers in sight, Shepard's team quickly heads towards the beacon, but they're too late as Saren reaches the beacon first and activates it. Saren is nowhere to be found, yet the beacon is still intact. Ashley Williams, inspecting the beacon, is suddenly pushed out of the way by Shepard once a strange energy emerges from it. Upon being hit with it, Shepard is flashed with visions of war, death, and machines.
They managed to save the colony.
And the beacon.
One of the humans may have used it.
This human must be eliminated.
Waking up days later in the medbay of the Normandy, Ambassador Don L. Udina, a major political player representing humanity in the Citadel, has summoned Shepard and Anderson to come with him in order to convince the Council of Saren's treason. The Council, however, cannot take the word of Shepard alone, and requires him to present sufficient evidence in order for them to be able to take action. Shepard leaves and, through the advice of Udina, is able to recruit the help of a Turian Citadel security officer by the name of Garrus, who is sympathetic to our cause and agrees the Council needs to stop Saren. Shepard and Garrus both speak to a doctor working at the Citadel who claims she recently tended to the wounds of a Quarian girl who was shot. The Quarian, named Tali, mentioned she was looking to contact the Shadow Broker, an enigmatic figure known for selling intel to the highest bidder. The doctor says she put her into contact with a local mercenary named Fist, which somehow isn't the weirdest name in this game, who is an agent working under the Shadow Broker. Garrus interjects with the fact that Fist doesn't work for the Shadow Broker anymore. He works for Saren now. With all this in mind, Shepard and Garrus conclude the Quarian could be useful for linking the Geth tax to Saren, and quickly head to find her before it's too late. They manage to locate Fist and interrogate him about Tali's whereabouts, and he reveals that he set her up, and that he told her she'd be meeting with the Shadow Broker, but in reality, it'll be Saren's men waiting on her.
Here on the wards, back alley by the markets. She's supposed to meet them right now. You can make it if you hurry.
Low-key, you don't deserve to live. I should slime you, bro. My only question is, if I click this option, am I gonna kill him? Because I want to say this, but I don't actually want to do it. Like, I want to say that to sound cool and like scare him, and like make him be like, damn, like I really fucked up. Like I don't deserve to live, but he's letting me live. But I don't want to kill him. So I'm going to gamble on the hope that I don't just absolutely slime his shit out right now.
Too many people died here, Fist. You don't get to walk away.
Oh! With no other options, Shepard has no choice but to kill Fist. His team quickly leave, making it just in time to rescue Tali. After speaking with her, she claims that after noticing some Geth ships venturing beyond the Veil, she became curious and tracked one down, extracted the data from its memory core, and is now in possession of a recorded conversation between Saren and an Asari woman by the name of Matriarch Benezia. And so, after saving her life, she agrees to come with them to present this evidence of Saren's treason to the Council. The Council, upon reviewing this evidence, deems Saren a traitor and a criminal, and revokes his status as Spectre, thus granting Shepard the opportunity to become the first ever human Spectre. Special Tactics and Reconnaissance, abbreviated as Spectre, are agents who are entrusted to operate as an authority and protector of the galaxy, being allowed to travel virtually anywhere and responsible for deciding the fate of its inhabitants, with the Council really only providing advice and not having a say in the decisions each Spectre makes, so long as their actions benefit galactic progress. Shepard and his crew are now free to decide where they go and how they go about it. Before leaving, they grab some supplies and on the way run into a Krogan bounty hunter by the name of Rex, who claims he was hired by the Shadow Broker and Shepard just stole his bounty by killing Fist. He isn't mad about it though, and instead transfers Shepard the money for the bounty, not wanting to take credit for someone else's work. Rex heard Shepard is after Saren and requests to join them, not in it for the money, but simply because he wants to be wherever the action is. Shepard accepts this offer, and after some deliberation, the Normandy heads towards Novaria, a small corporate research colony which has had reports of Geth interest and activity. Upon the frozen terrestrial surface, the Normandy lands inside the colony. Shepard and his team are briefly stopped by Novaria Approach Control, who are the biggest losers in the galaxy.
Sergeant Sterling, secure their weapons.
Who the fuck do you think you are, bro?
Captain Matsuo, stand down.
That's what I thought.
We confirmed their identity. Spectres are authorized to carry weapons here, Captain.
You may proceed, Spectre. I hope the rest of your visit will be less confrontational. Parasini-san will meet you upstairs. Behave yourself.
Who the fuck are you speaking to?
Get out of here.
I could... Ooh, I'm coming back for you. What's her name? We'll lock it in. Kara Sterling. I'll remember that. But Shepard reveals his status as Spectre and is free to proceed. Shepard and his team get up to a few misadventures, even getting their get back from earlier. This bitch.
I don't think you're supposed to be in here, Shepard.
I have a mission to complete. I did what I had to.
I don't
You're getting fucked up. What the fuck? Before eventually stumbling upon none other than Matriarch Benezia.
Have you faced an Asari commando unit before? Few humans have.
There's obviously no peaceful way to settle this.
What the fuck? Yo! They can do that? A battle quickly ensues, but they manage to take down the Geth onslaught, leaving just Benezia. In a moment of unusualness, she suddenly ceases fighting and stops to explain how those who follow Saren slowly and subtly come to worship him, believing it all to be on their own accord. She reveals how his flagship, named Sovereign, has the uncanny ability to gradually indoctrinate its inhabitants without them even realizing it. Benezia claims she thought she could resist its effects, but eventually found herself willing and eager to serve. She tries to help Shepard further, but can no longer resist Sovereign's grip on her mind.
You have to stop me. I can't. His teeth are at my ear. Fingers on my spine. No light. They always said there would be a...
Did this bitch just die? No, I saw her head move. She ain't dead, surely. Right? What a damn shame. After leaving Nevaria, the Normandy makes its way into the Artemis Tau cluster, the last known location of Liara T'Soni, an Asari archaeologist famous for her vast knowledge of the Protheans. She also happens to be the daughter of Matriarch Benezia, though the two apparently haven't spoken in many years. It's reported that Saren is after her, so Shepard's team quickly scans and finds her last dig site, eventually landing on the industrial metal-rich planet of Therium. Upon landing, they're met with heavy Geth resistance and fight their way underground, where they find Liara T'Soni trapped in a stasis field. Shepard maneuvers through the facility and uses an industrial mining laser to break past the rock walls and freeze Liara. Before they can escape the facility, a Krogan who works for Saren approaches with Geth by his side and demands Liara is handed over. Shepard refuses, of course, and a battle erupts, with Shepard's team coming out on top. They quickly make their way above ground and back up to the Normandy, barely escaping the seismic destruction. Once aboard, Liara is welcomed to the crew, but before discussing their next course of action, an urgent message from Alliance Command comes through. Once patched in, the Admiral requests Shepard's help and explains they use the planet of Vermeer as a testing grounds for battle tactics and live fire simulations. However, one of the virtual intelligence machines that they use for those simulations has gone rogue and won't respond to any of their commands. While not considered a true AI that is self-aware and can think on its own, the VI not responding is not only strange, but extremely dangerous, as it controls nearly all functions of technology on the island, which means it can only be shut down manually, and that's exactly where Shepard would come in. He agrees to help, and the Normandy heads to the tropical planet of Vermeer. On the way, Shepard gets to know the members of his crew a little better. Liara T'Soni explains Asari culture and her origins a bit more in depth. The Asari are monogendered, meaning male and female have no real meaning amongst their people. While they do require another partner to procreate, they can be of any species or gender, and this actually is culturally encouraged more so than two Asari reproducing with each other, which happened to be the case when it came to Liara's parents. However, the process is actually mostly mental instead of physical, as their physiology allows them to meld with other beings and essentially touch the depths of their mind, exchanging different memories and traits, which they can then pass along to future generations. Talking to Rex, we learn more about the Krogan race. What were once feared conquerors are now a dwindling population bordering on extinction. The Krogans had once waged war with the Council, and in retaliation, the Turians unleashed a bioweapon, spreading a deadly genetic mutation known as the genophage across the entire Krogan population, reducing the successful Krogan birth rate to 1 in 1,000. While Krogan natural lifespans last for centuries, they remain more obsessed with roaming across the galaxy and fighting than uniting together to cure their disease, gradually reducing the Krogan population. With no cure in sight and breeding being nearly impossible, Rex has lost faith in the Krogans being able to save themselves. Tali goes more into depth on Quarian culture, explaining her pilgrimage and the origins of the Geth. Being raised in the sterile environment of a ship most of her life, the Quarians have to wear protective gear when venturing outside of the flotilla. While also being technologically in tune, the Quarians to this day still rely on older technology and parts dating back centuries, constantly modifying until it's beyond repair. Garrus explains his motivations for joining further, explaining how back at the Citadel, C-Sec had so many rules and regulations and he wasn't able to do his job as a security officer as efficiently when being held back by all those protocols, and he's grateful that with Shepard's influence as a Spectre, it allows him to get the job done without any outside interference. Ashley is racist, and Kaiden just kinda exists, like he's just kinda there. Eventually they arrive at Vermeer. Upon landing, they're met with heavy Geth resistance in tandem with the island's technological defenses. After fighting their way past, they stumble upon the island's last remaining soldiers, led by the Salarian military officer Captain Kirahe, the Goats. He explains that apparently Saren had discovered the cure for the genophage and has a facility on the planet to develop and supply it to the Krogans so long as they fight under his command, essentially using them as weapons in order to breed a Krogan army and overrun the galaxy. Captain Kirahe says the plan is to destroy this facility, however Rex is naturally against this idea. Finally having a cure for his people, he refuses to doom his species to extinction if the cure truly does exist, and he draws his weapon on Shepard, prepared to die to save his race. Shepard is able to convince Rex by explaining that Saren is going to make the Krogans into slaves, using them as puppets to fight wars for him, ironically an occurrence the Krogan race has a particularly lengthy history with already. Rex realizes Shepard is right and lowers his weapon, agreeing to help destroy the facility, but only if Shepard agrees to let Rex be the one to kill Saren for what he's done. Though the situation seems desperate, Captain Kirahe has a plan for destroying the facility. Converting their ship's drive system into a compact nuke, they have a way to blow it up, but they'll have to drop it inside on foot as the buildings outside is too well fortified. Captain Kirahe and his men will attack from the front, creating a distraction for Shepard's team to go in through the back and drop off the nuke. He knows that most, if not all of his men are going to die, and he makes the bold request for the aid of one of Shepard's men to help lead the front team. And so, knowing the risks, Shepard chooses Kaiden. The rest of Shepard's team depart and wait for Captain Kirahe to charge in.
Think of our heroes. A silent step who defeated a nation with a single shot. Or the ever-alert who kept armies at bay with hidden facts. These giants do not seem to give us solace here, but they are not all that we are. Before the network, there was the fleet.
Okay.
Before diplomacy, there were soldiers.
Okay.
Our influence stopped the Rachni, but before that, we held the line.
Yeah.
Our influence stopped the Krogan.
Yeah.
Before that, we held the line.
Yeah, they did.
Our influence will stop Saren.
Yes!
In the battle today, we will hold the line.
Yes! We will!
Good luck, Commander. I hope we will meet again.
Thanks. The attack commences and Shepard's team fight their way through the base and make their way inside. Eventually, they stumble upon another Prothean beacon, just like the one back on Eden Prime, and upon touching it, Shepard is once again flashed with similar visions as before. But before they can process what just happened, a terminal nearby activates, projecting a hologram of Saren's flagship, Sovereign, and it speaks to them. Confused that Saren is not the one contacting them, but a human. It states that Sovereign is not simply alive, but something so far beyond comprehension it has no way to explain it to a living being. At their core, they are a race of synthetic organic machines at the highest level of existence, or as Protheans called them, the Reapers. The Reapers do not care what they are called. As Sovereign states, they simply are.
Organic life is nothing but a genetic mutation, an accident. Your lives are measured in years and decades. You wither and die. We are eternal, the pinnacle of evolution and existence. If before us. You are nothing. Your extinction is inevitable. We are the end of everything. We impose order on the chaos of organic evolution. You exist because we allow it, and you will end because we demand it. The pattern has repeated itself more times than you can fathom. Organic civilizations rise, evolve, advance, and at the apex of their glory, they are extinguished. The Protheans were not the first. They did not create the Citadel. They did not forge the mass relays. They merely found them. The legacy of my kind.
Sovereign explains that organic life exists so that the Reapers can end it. And just like they wiped out the Protheans, they will return to wipe out the galaxy's various races once more. Sovereign ends this conversation by destroying the terminal, and Shepard gets word from Joker that Sovereign is on the move and headed their way. Shepard's team make their way to the drop point and set the nuke down, and suddenly, Kaiden radios in. He reports Captain Kirahe is dead. And they're pinned down so they won't make it to the rendezvous point in time. Ashley decides to stay behind and defend the nuke from the Geth, while Shepard and the rest of the team go to assist Kaiden's team. Shepard's team fight past the Geth forces but are suddenly stopped by Saren himself, who tries to convince Shepard to join him, noting the Reapers' arrival is inevitable and they might as well be useful to the Reapers versus choosing to fight and die. Saren believes the Reapers need him in order to find the conduit, and is aware of the indoctrination of Sovereign, but thinks he can distinguish the difference between ally and servant. Ironically, he doesn't realize he's already under their spell, and seeing this, Shepard tries to warn Saren, but he refuses to believe he's not acting on his own free will, and attacks Shepard, coming to a draw before successfully escaping. Ashley starts to get overrun by Geth and determines the only way they'll all make it out alive is to arm the nuke now and tell Shepard to rescue Kaiden and leave her behind. Shepard's team does so and makes their escape on the Normandy, and Ashley sacrifices her life to set off the nuke, destroying the facility for good. After contacting the Council with a mission report, they still can't accept the return of Reapers as fact, seeing it as a baseless rumor until solid evidence is presented. The Normandy makes its way to the planet of Pharos, reported to have been attacked by Geth, landing on Zoo's Hope colony. Shepard makes contact with Phi Dan, the leader of the Exogeny Corp, who are preparing for another wave of Geth attacks. Shepard notices, however, something appears off with some of the colonists who have been speaking and behaving strangely, some even reported to be blindly attacking people on site. After some investigation in a nearby facility, it's discovered the colonists are being controlled by a large local underground plant known as the Thorian. The plant releases spores that allow it to dominate its victims' minds, something Saren found particular interest in, hence the reason for the Geth presence. Shepard fights his way underground, incapacitating hostile colonists instead of killing them, and makes his way up to the Thorian, and after an intense battle, destroys it. Emerging from a pod, an Asari woman stands and is grateful to be free of the Thorian's control, as she was being used as a tool of communication between Saren and the Thorian. She explains that the beacons, like the one found on Eden Prime, are mostly undecipherable pieces of a vision because they were originally meant for a Prothean mind to understand. The Thorian had existed long before and after the existence of the Prothean era, watching them and consuming some after their extinction. The Thorian essentially taught Saren how to think like a Prothean, allowing him to fully decipher the message left behind by the beacons. When melded with the Thorian, the Asari explains how she felt the knowledge, culture, and experience of a Prothean, and it's something that simply can't be taught. It'd be like trying to explain a color. However, she offers to explain what she did with Saren, using her Asari abilities to transfer that knowledge to Shepard. Shepard agrees, and after successfully doing so, she says it may take some time for Shepard to fully process it, and so they make their way back onto the Normandy. Once back on the ship, Liara also offers to meld her consciousness to Shepard's, as her expertise on the Protheans may be able to further help Shepard decipher the Prothean visions. After doing so, Liara is able to determine the message was a warning from the Protheans about the invasion of the Reapers, and with her previous knowledge of Prothean ruins, is able to pinpoint the conduit's location to be on Ilios, which would explain why Saren needed the Mu relay, as travel to Ilios without access to it would be impossible. And after contacting the Council with this info, the Council requests us to report back to the Citadel. After arriving and meeting with the Council, they explain that they are preparing a fleet to defend not only the Citadel, but every possible mass relay in anticipation for Saren's inevitable attack. However, they will not be sending any fleet to Ilios, as the Mu relay is located deep inside the Terminus systems and would most likely result in a full-scale war between space systems. Shepard requests to be allowed to go to Ilios alone, as retrieving the conduit is Saren's true plan. The Council believes it was simply a misdirection in his plans to attack the Council and declines Shepard's request, even grounding the Normandy, preventing them from leaving the Citadel until instructed otherwise. After being dismissed, Captain Anderson contacts us requesting to talk. Once met up with him, he explains to Shepard he heard about what just happened, but tells Shepard he can't give up and they must get to Ilios at any cost. Anderson offers to infiltrate one of the restricted Citadel control centers at the docking bay and unlock the Normandy, giving them just a few moments to take off and escape the docking bay. The team makes its way inside the Normandy, while Anderson, risking the capital offense of treason, takes out a guard at the control panel and manages to hack in and unlock the ship just before being subdued by the surrounding guards, allowing the Normandy to make its escape and head to Ilios. Once they land on the rusted planet of Ilios, they make their way through the underground ruins, encountering a damaged Prothean beacon. It displays a message of broken words in the Prothean language, which only Shepard is able to understand due to the knowledge gained from both Asari earlier on. After making their way deeper inside, they're suddenly stopped by some kind of force field, redirecting them into a room where an ancient beacon containing a VI appears. It explains it was created by the Protheans long ago in order to deliver a message to those who came after, in order to stop the cycle of the Reapers. It goes on to explain the Citadel is actually, secretly, a mass relay itself that links itself to dark space, the exact hiding place of the Reapers. The Protheans, and even those who came before, all used the Citadel as their home base, and so, when the Reapers suddenly appeared, the Citadel was the first to be taken out, meaning the Council, along with the entire Citadel fleet, would be destroyed before anyone would even realizing it, allowing the Reapers to take over with relative ease. With the Citadel in their control, the Reapers learned everything there was to know about the galaxy's inhabitants, and were able to conquer them effortlessly, system by system, and within a few centuries, every single Prothean was either dead or enslaved. The galaxy now faces the same exact threat, with Saren aiming to aid the Reapers' return. The VI explains the facility they're currently standing in has hundreds of cryostasis pods hidden underground that once held the last members of the Prothean race. However, as time went on and the Reapers persisted, the VI, in order to conserve energy, was forced to gradually shut down each pod one by one until only a few remained, a contingency put into place when it was first built. By the time the Reapers had left, only a few of the top scientists were left, far too few to sustain the population, but just enough to discover a way to stop the cycle through the Keepers. While their origin is mostly a mystery, the Keepers are biotic insect-like beings connected to the Citadel and act as sort of a caretaker to the systems running inside. Through the use of the conduit, a signal is sent to the station instructing the Keepers before each invasion to open the mass relay hidden inside the Citadel, allowing the Reapers to invade. After decades of study, the scientists using the conduit found a way to get access inside the Citadel and alter the signal. This time, when the Reapers sent the signal, the Keepers ignored it, keeping them trapped in dark space. Saren wants to use the conduit to bring the Reapers back. The VI gives Shepard a copy of a data file that he can upload to the Citadel's master control station, corrupting its defenses and giving Shepard temporary control of it, helping give him a chance to stop Sovereign just in case they don't reach the conduit first. And so, Shepard and his team proceed on to try and get there before Saren does. Unfortunately, they're too late and the conduit is activated just before they arrive. Sovereign, leading a Geth fleet, suddenly appears and attacks the Citadel. Sovereign lands atop the Citadel and takes over its defenses, leaving it virtually helpless. Shepard's team follows right behind through the relay to the Citadel, which has already taken heavy damage. They fight their way through Geth resistance before finally encountering Saren himself at the Master Control Room. He boasts of his bionic upgrades gifted from Sovereign. He explains that ever since their last encounter on Vermeer, he couldn't stop thinking about what Shepard said about him already being indoctrinated. Sovereign had sensed these doubts and planted Saren in order to strengthen his resolve, not even realizing he's now fully under the Reaper's control. Shepard tries his best to stir him out of these delusions, but Saren ignores it, and in turn tries to convince Shepard that fighting the Reapers is useless and the return is inevitable.
Now my doubts are gone. I believe in Sovereign completely. I understand the Reapers need organics. Join us, and Sovereign will find a place for you too.
It's been fully taken over.
Sovereign's controlling you through your implants. Don't you see that?
The relationship is symbiotic, organic and machine intertwined, a union of flesh and steel. The strengths of both, the weaknesses of neither.
Lock in.
It's not over yet. You can still redeem yourself.
Saren begins to ponder if maybe Shepard's right and tries to resist, but quickly realizes Sovereign's control is too powerful. So he thanks Shepard for his efforts and chooses to go out on his own terms.
Goodbye, Shepard. Thank you.
Oh. Shepard commands Rex and Garrus to check the body and make sure he's really dead. Meanwhile, Shepard accesses the Citadel Master Control Panel. Shepard uploads the data file and now has access to the Citadel's defenses. After opening up the communications, it's reported the Council are aboard the Citadel's flagship, the Destiny Ascension, and are taking heavy blows. Shepard must choose between focusing the Citadel's defenses on saving the Council or stopping Sovereign. After weighing his options carefully, Shepard ultimately chooses to focus on destroying Sovereign, leaving the Ascension to be destroyed and the Council to die. Meanwhile, Sovereign reanimates and possesses Saren's corpse through his implants, and more Geth drop down to attack. In the skies, the Normandy leads the Alliance forces against Sovereign, whose power seems to rival the entire fleet and refuses to go down without a fight, taking down a large number of ships with ease. Shepard finally manages to take down Saren for good, and the Alliance suffers heavy casualties but refuses to back down, knowing this is the only chance at victory, and after what seems like an endless amount of gunfire and blows suffered, Sovereign finally falls. A bittersweet victory, as the achievements made in battle skyrockets the notoriety of humanity throughout the galaxy, even forming a new human-led council, with Captain Anderson being selected to lead. Yet the destruction and the loss that was brought from only a single Reaper showed just how dangerous a threat the Reapers truly are. And so, knowing this wouldn't be the end, Shepard vows to find a way to stop the Reapers for good, in an ambiguous ending that has no sequel or continuation. For a game that came out almost 20 years ago now, at the time of making this, I believe the first Mass Effect still holds up to the standards of today's gaming. And granted, I did play the remastered version over the original, but the only difference is graphics. The story and the gameplay are the same, and they're extremely engaging. I didn't really find any moments where I was bored or I felt like it was dragging along. The main story is about 15 to 20 hours, but there's a bunch of side things to do, and I think there's some DLC as well that I didn't really get too much into. I really love how in-depth the world building is as well, along with just how many different characters there are, how much lore is packed into the game. I've done a lot of research on it, and I've seen a lot of different things, and I still probably don't even know the full extent of it. And I'm excited to see how all of my choices and progress carry over into the next couple games. But what I think is really cool with the main story is that you don't have to complete it in the same way that I did. So if you end up playing it, you might have a completely different experience. The main beats of the story are going to be the same, but there's a lot of different things that could happen in different ways depending on how you do it. One cool thing that I figured out was that you could go and find Liara T'Soni and have her as a part of your crew before you go and fight Matriarch Benezia. And if you do that, they'll have a couple little interactions together that I didn't even get to do because I didn't know that was possible. There's also a bunch of different side missions you can do, which I didn't really put them in the video, but the ones that I did do, they were pretty fun. And there's just so many different characters you can interact with and places to explore. One thing that I do regret that I figured out is you can get freaky with Ashley if you're stupid, or Liaria if you're based. I didn't either because I didn't know that was possible. I thought that was only in the second or the third game. So I kind of fumbled there, unfortunately. I'll have to up my game in Mass Effect 2. One other thing that I didn't even realize until I was editing this video is that you have a bunch of special abilities that you and your squad can utilize, which makes the gameplay even more unique. And they tell you that at the start of the game, but for some reason I just forgot, and so I never used it for the entire game. I just used my guns the whole time. I didn't know there was abilities. Even when I was upgrading, I saw like slots for it. I don't know. It didn't process in my brain that there's a whole nother aspect of the game I completely missed. And that's no fault of the game or anything. They literally told me, like that was on me. It's not like it made it any worse either. I still had fun with just the guns, but I thought it was kind of crazy that I missed an entire aspect of the game, so I'll go ahead and take another L on that one. Overall though, I really enjoyed Mass Effect, and I'm excited to play and analyze the second game next, see if it's any better, any worse. So with that, I give Mass Effect 1 5 out of 5 Shepards. RIP Captain Kirhe, you will be missed, and thank you for your time.